All right, finally put together this video, bring some clarity on this whole virus situation, how to build your immunity so you don't have to be afraid of it anymore. Are you ready? This is going to be a lot of information. Bring out your notepads and a pen or pencil. And get ready. This is going to be a lot of info. Let's get to it. All right. First of all, little legal disclaimer. Gotta do it. I'm not a medical doctor. I've been a practicing health coach and yoga teacher for the last 8 years, and I want to remind you all to listen to your heart when you're listening to all this information. Process everything on your own. Don't just trust everything I'm saying. Listen to your own intuition. You're the only one that can make these changes for yourself. All right? So everything I'm saying is not a replacement for medical advice from a licensed medical doctor. If you're experiencing life-threatening symptoms, please go to a medical professional. If you can't breathe, this is not for you. If you can't breathe, go to a hospital, okay? This is for prevention. It's to build your immunity so that you don't get sick. If you're already sick, you may need medical treatment, okay? So please, again, this is not a replacement for life-saving medical treatment. This is for prevention purposes. So please share this information with everyone. This is super, super important at this time. Thank you so much. All right, so this whole COVID-19 situation, this whole crazy virus thing coming around, it is not going away. As the fact of the matter, I don't want to be here to promote fear. All right, that's not my intention. But I want to tell you, it's going to be coming around in cycles. And this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are more changes to come, more rounds of this virus coming through to come. And it's our responsibility to be prepared. So I think it's important to think of this as um, a positive thing for the future. As Mother Earth is sending this to force us to look inwards, to create these changes in our lives, to create changes in our business structures, to finally start valuing sustainability, to value long-term changes, long-term health, rather than just procrastinating, as we've been doing, procrastinating on our own health, procrastinating on making the changes that we know that we need to be making in so many of our systems that are now experiencing such a crisis. There's no alternative but to consider change. Finally, huh? Okay, that's a great thing. Anyway, so the problem with modern medicine right now is that there's no practical long-term advice or solution. Right now, if your symptoms aren't bad enough, you're just being turned away without any sort of advice at all and just being told to wait until the symptoms get bad enough for you to get medical treatment. And I want to urge you to not just sit there watching the media waiting in fear, okay? I want you to act now. Shift your lifestyle, build your immunity, become invulnerable to this disease, and there will be nothing to fear. So I'm about to go over an absolutely ridiculous amount of information. If you need help with integrating this information, figuring out where to start, where to prioritize making these changes, please contact me. You can contact another health coach that you intuitively trust, or you can just start making these changes yourself. Please, though, start now. So this virus can be an issue through a combination of factors. If we already have a weak immune system, if we have a high level of background stress, and then we're exposed to this virus, it can start replicating in us and cause symptoms. Those symptoms can be dangerous. And if they get to intense levels, you may need medical attention. But if your immune system is strong and you've taken steps to reduce your background stress, it doesn't even matter if you get exposed. You can get the virus, it can start replicating in you, you're just not going to get symptoms at all. It's not going to affect you. You'll be invulnerable. So that's the goal of this video, is to help you to get to that point where your immune system is strong enough where even if you get exposed to this virus, it's just not going to affect you. So first and foremost, for decreasing background stress, the most important thing, number one, is to remain in a positive attitude. And what do I mean by that? I mean an attitude of gratitude, appreciation, love, remaining in your heart, listening to your heart's guidance, following your passion, listening to whatever higher power you may believe in, releasing resistances to life, being in the moment, being in the flow state, right? This is the most important thing for releasing background levels of stress. And the practice of meditation and prayer is the practice of shifting your attitude over the long term. I would suggest a daily practice of sitting in meditation for, at the bare minimum, 20 minutes a day. I would suggest more. Maybe 20 minutes twice a day, maybe an hour a day. There's no excuses anymore with this whole quarantine situation. Everybody has time, right? The purpose of stilling the body, sitting still, is to allow the mind to become still so that we can shift that attitude. We can go into that state of allowing, that state of forgiveness. We can become more aware of our breathing, of our posture, more aware of our attitude all of the time, more connected to our inner guidance. What is our heart telling us? Right? Being the student, seeing everybody around you as a master, learning from every situation, processing all your experiences, all your karma. If there's anything that you're holding on to, learning how to release that through the process of meditation, through the process of prayer. You can use technologies like entrainment, audio or visual entrainment technologies like binaural beats, isochronic tones, whatever you may have available to you. You can go to the beach. You can go sit next to the ocean. You can go sit next to the river. You can create lifestyle changes. These are all ways to vibrationally shift your whole self. Shift your attitude to remain in your heart space, to find that invulnerability inside of yourself. One of the most important aspects of the lifestyle is getting adequate sleep for the health of the body, the health of the mind, for hormonal health, emotional health. You want to make sure you're getting enough sleep, adequate sleep. If you're not able to get adequate sleep, get some help with that. There could be something going on emotionally inside that you may be blocking, consciously or unconsciously, that you need to deal with in order to be allowing yourself to get proper rest. Take care of that. And so now we come to yoga, another aspect of the lifestyle. There is a more comprehensive understanding of what yoga means, which is just doing your best always. A friend recently told me this. I really like that understanding of what yoga is. Just always doing your best, always being there to serve and help others, understanding oneness and love, and being able to apply that to every moment in your life. Being aware of your movement, being aware of your posture, being aware of your breathing. And that's where we come to a physical yoga practice, where we have aspects of yoga like pranayama or breathing exercises. We have asana, postures, concentration, meditation. Concentration is when you are picking a focal point, something to focus on. Focus on it, inevitably the mind will wander, and then the practice of concentration is realizing that the mind has wandered, and moving your mind back to that focal point. That's concentration. When the mind has stopped wandering from that focal point, say that focal point is your breathing, then you can say, when the mind has stopped wandering, that you're in a state of meditation. There are other aspects of yoga that are also covered in the rest of the presentation, but for the purposes of this, I'll just refer to yoga as understanding our breathing, understanding our emotions, being aware of these things so that we can be aware of our emotions, we can be aware of our breathing, we can be aware of our posture, and we can be able to respond appropriately in the moment rather than reacting unconsciously. When we're reacting unconsciously, we can be creating stressful situations, extraneous stress that's completely unnecessary for us. And that can be hurtful on the immune system when our emotions are so out of balance. And that can lead for when our immune systems are compromised like that, because our emotions are so out of balance, that can lead us to be susceptible to this virus. So understanding our emotions, understanding our breathing is very important to building a strong immune system. Next, we come to exercise. I like to think of exercise as the training of the unconscious mind. Just like I think of meditation as training of the conscious mind, and yoga as something sort of in between. And the purpose of training the unconscious mind is to release the limitations of the conscious mind, to increase our idea of what is possible. So what we're doing is, with this exercise, is increasing the heart rate, increasing the breathing rate, decreasing the level of background stress. And what that decrease of the background stress does, if we're consistent with this, is changes how the DNA in our cells is expressing itself. When we're stressed, the DNA gets constricted. And when we're relaxed, the DNA can open and expresses in a different way. So this allows for, instead of tightness and rigidity in the body, tightness and rigidity and reactivity in our emotions, it allows for that to be more relaxed, for more smoothness, for more softness to come through in our energy. So the purpose of training the strength is to build our posture, to strengthen our posture, to open our posture, so that with every breath that we're taking, we're circulating our emotions, we're breathing deeper with every single breath. Because when the posture is all bent, we're breathing shallowly. And when the posture is open, the chest is open, the spine is long, there's no tension in the spine. Every breath that we take down through the hips into the ground is circulating more. Not just emotion, it's the circulating the oxygen, it's circulating, it's massaging the organs, it's releasing stuckness in our energy, it's releasing trapped emotions, it's increasing our awareness, right? And different kinds of exercise that we can do that can all create this effect of bettering the posture, bettering the breathing, increasing endorphins in the body. We can include strength training, we can include endurance training, and we can include power training. So I hope all of these training methods are a part of your exercise routine on a weekly basis. All right, now we come to nutrition and supplementation. This is a deep and complicated topic that I'm sure I could talk about for days straight, so I'll do my best to keep it short and brief. We want to be making continuous steps towards moving towards a high vibrational diet. In yoga, we have the concept of tapas, goal setting. And you want to get the hang of this goal setting in order to be taking these continuous steps towards improving your diet consistently. focusing on a more liquid diet, a diet that hydrates the body rather than a diet that is dehydrating to the body will help, because with every breath that you're taking, you'll be circulating more energy. And think about it like your body's like a sponge, right? If you're trying to stretch out a dried out sponge, it'll be painful. It just crack and hurt, right? But if the sponge is wet, it'll be flexible. It'll be easier to breathe into that tissue and stretch it out, right? And that's the purpose of the diet, is to facilitate the exercise, to facilitate the yoga, to work towards the body being better hydrated, and to also make sure that you're getting enough nutrition. So in order to hydrate the body, you don't need just water. You need what's inside the water in order to absorb the water into the body. Otherwise, you can drink as much pure water as you want, you're just going to pee it out. So the minerals and the micronutrients, they're like little magnets, and they hold water around them electromagnetically. So when the body is absorbing these minerals and absorbing these nutrients, it's absorbing the water along with them, and that's how you hydrate the body. You can't just drink water, you need what's inside the water to go along with it. So more vegetables, both raw and cooked. Also, for the immune system, you want to make sure that you're taking care of the gut microbiome. Having probiotics every day. Some sort of lacto-fermented vegetable like sauerkraut or kimchi. You can drink kombucha. You can even take a probiotic pill. But I really would recommend going with something like sauerkraut or some other sort of lacto-fermented vegetable. Fasting is also an important thing. We can get into that later. I have a whole slide on fasting. And in terms of supplementation, I would say what's most important is first cleaning up your diet, removing things that you know are not good for your body, increasing things that you know your body needs. But specifically regarding supplements that would help the immune system with this whole virus issue, I would suggest liposomal vitamin C, which again is a fat-soluble vitamin C, liposomal. You want to take that with food. And the vitamin D3, again, you want to take with food. It's fat-soluble. Zinc you can take to boost the immune system. Green supplements, so things like spirulina, chlorella, green powders. There are certain green powder companies that make powdered greens that you can put into things like smoothies, or you can put into your oatmeal in the morning. And so there are a few that I can think of that come to mind. One of them is called Green Vibrance. There's another from a company called Amazing Grass. Another one called Garden of Eden, Perfect Food. Lots of different green powders. Search for an organic green powder. You can put that into your smoothies in the morning. I would really suggest doing that. Helps with hydration, helps with getting plenty of micronutrients, plenty of minerals, and it's basically like a little multivitamin. Better than a multivitamin. I wouldn't even suggest multivitamins. But next we have adaptogens, so things that help the body to deal with stress, to be able to reduce the background stress. We have medicinal mushrooms like chaga, reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane. And then we also have other sorts of adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, bacopa monnieri, gotu-kola astragalus. There are lots of different supplements that you can choose from that will help the body to deal with stress. And they can be very helpful, but again, really focus on continuously improving your diet. Next, we have certain stress relief body care protocols that one can include in their weekly routine to help the body to deal with this background stress and acclimate to a higher vibrational lifestyle. So one is different methods of cleaning the bowels, cleaning the colon. This is a scary one for some people, but hey, you know, we clean our mouths. Why don't we clean the other side? It's just because we're so ashamed and we're so guilty of that part of our body. So let's all work to release that shame and that guilt and do what's best for our body and our mind. Yeah? Let's rethink that. So we have protocols like cleansing enemas where we can use plain water that's been boiled. We can add things like baking soda or sea salt to have a more pulling, cleansing effect. We can use nutritional enemas in order to provide nutrition while cleaning out the bowels. So things like coffee enemas, spirulina, chlorella, adaptogenic herbs can also be used in the water. And colonics, or colon hydrotherapy, is also something that can be used, but you do need to find a licensed colon hydrotherapist, and it's a whole procedure that you'll have to go out and find someone to help you with. So any of these that you choose, what's important is that you clean out the colon, you clean out the bowels. And what's kind of gross and a little scary and intimidating about it is most of us have, let's say, 5 to 10 pounds of undigested material that we're storing and just walking around with inside of our gut, inside our colon. And that material, that undigested material, has things like bacteria and fungus and mold growing on it that's being absorbed into our body and consistently poisoning us. We want to be able to release that. In yoga, this is called ama, or if this is what the term is for the undigested material. You can look this up on Google. Ama, A-M-A. And it's important to get rid of this, to get it out of the body, to help the body out with this stress producer. It helps with the absorption of nutrition from food. It helps with the release of whatever the body's trying to get out of it. And it also helps with preventing the reabsorption of whatever the body is trying to release. We can also clean out the nose and the nasal passages using neti, a neti pot. There's a process called abhyanga in Ayurveda of self-massage to help with moving the lymphatic system. A process called gua sha, which is similar to abhyanga. It comes from traditional Chinese medicine. That's also called the Graston method. It's the same thing. And the purpose of the abhyanga and the gua sha, as well as just traditional self-myofascial release techniques like trigger point therapy and whatnot, is to affect the peripheral nervous system, to allow for energy to move more efficiently through the body, to balance the emotions, and decrease the level of background stress on the body again. Then we have other protocols like just having a bath. Put some Epsom salts, some magnesium sulfate, some baking soda into the bath to help with pulling things out of the skin, as well as absorbing magnesium and sulfate through the skin. The body is often depleted of this magnesium, and it helps with circulation. The baking soda also helps with pulling things out of the body, cleaning the body. It also removes smells, makes you smell better. So all of these protocols can be included, let's say, once a week or once a month or twice a month, whatever you like. Try them out. See how they affect your body. See how they affect your emotions. See how they affect your mind. With some of these, you'll have a noticeable effect. So try them. Be aware of the effect that they have, and include them in your personal practice. Some more options for stress relief body care that I left out of the previous slide are acupuncture, again, which you would have to find a licensed acupuncturist. And it affects your body in a similar way to the Abhyanga and the trigger point therapy by affecting the peripheral nervous system and affecting the way that energy flows through that, which affects the internal organs. It affects the whole body. Next, we have oil pulling and basti, which are essentially washing the body by retaining oil. So you can retain oil in the mouth, or you can retain oil as an enema. Often the oil is medicated. So for oil pulling, often people will use an essential oil like tea tree oil or oregano oil, a small amount, or cinnamon oil, and a small amount of baking soda in order to create a stronger effect of the oil, a medicinal effect. And what this does is filters out what is building up in the lymphatic system, either in the neck and the sinuses, nasal sinuses, or in the lymphatic system down near the colon. So oil pulling and basti are meant to be retained for a certain period of time. The oil pulling is meant to be retained until the oil becomes the consistency of water, and then you know it's done. You spit it out into the toilet, and you'll see that instead of it looking like a oil, it'll look like a white film, and that's because a lot of what was in the oil has been absorbed, and a lot of what was in the lymphatic system has come out into that, and it's cleaning the lymphatic system. The basti, which is the medicated oil retention enema, is Ayurvedic protocol that is meant to be retained overnight. So you're supposed to basically insert that medicated oil, and then it'll pull things into that oil from the lymphatic system down there overnight. And then in the morning you expel it and it releases it, pulling a lot of toxins out of the body. Next, we have heat and cold therapy. So you can use cold showers, or you can use a sauna and steam room, and both the heat therapy as well as the cold therapy can have beneficial effects on the immune system. You can even use both of these in what's called contrast therapy, which is going back and forth between heat and cold. So, for example, even football players who are all beaten up, they'll go back and forth between an ice bath and a hot bath. And what this does is it constricts the blood vessels and then opens the blood vessels, and it constricts the blood vessels and opens the blood vessels, and it's like pumping the muscles and pumping the lymphatic system, and it just moves things in and out of those muscles in order to create a healing effect on the body. Now we have the principle of fasting, which is an important principle to understand and can be applied to a lot of different things. Essentially, what you're doing is you're removing something that you're used to depending on for comfort. To give a simple example, we have the idea of comfort foods, where when we're feeling particularly stressed, we may reach out for certain foods to provide us with a feeling of comfort. But in the long run, what we're really doing is using these foods to cover up the emotion. That if we want to actually learn how to deal with the stress, eventually we need to make that decision to deal with those emotions. Some people will reach out for other things to deal with their emotional stress. Maybe a cigarette, maybe a shot or a couple drinks. Please recognize what you're doing. recognize that in the long term, this is not a solution, and start getting into this principle of fasting so you can learn how to deal with these addictions and release them for good from your life to increase the vibration of your lifestyle and the vibration of your beingness, so that you're no longer needing to depend on these external things to keep your emotions in balance. And instead, you can use things like yoga and meditation and exercise and green smoothies. Yeah? So I would suggest starting off with something like juice fasting or fasting on smoothies, or even something like intermittent fasting, which I didn't write down here, but intermittent fasting is where you can pick a window of time where you eat in, and this allows for you to be fasting over a longer period of time and have a shorter fast that's a little easier emotionally to deal with. So let's say you pick an 8-hour window to start with where you're eating between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then the rest of the time you're fasting on, let's say, just water. Once you get the hang of that, you can shorten that window to, let's say, a 6-hour or 4-hour or 2-hour eating window, or eating just one meal a day. These are all methods of fasting. The whole idea, again, is what you're doing is you're removing something that you're depending on externally to keep yourself feeling emotionally balanced. And when we're getting rid of these external dependencies, we need to learn how to use something else to keep our emotions balanced. So as you're removing these external addictions, introduce something to replace them to help you to keep your emotions balanced. Introduce breathing exercises. Introduce asana practice, posture practice. Introduce exercise. Introduce green smoothies. Yeah. Give fasting a try. It's a hugely beneficial way of introducing change into your life. If you're running into a difficulty creating change in your life, introduce meditation and fasting, and then a practice to help to keep your emotions more balanced. Give it a try. Now we have other sources of stress in our life that could vary depending on the individual. Do you enjoy your work? Are you passionate about what you do? Do you wake up in the morning excited, grateful for your life? If not, you may need to figure out something that excites you and start doing that more. Start expressing yourself in some way. Start channeling your energy into whatever excites you. It could be creating poetry, artwork, making music. It can be programming. It can be accounting. If that is what excites you, it can be anything. Go out gardening. Figure out something that excites you. Go out and do it every day. And trust me, especially if you're trying to quit smoking, figure out something that you're passionate about. Stop replacing your passion with nicotine. Stop suppressing that energy. Figure out something that excites you. Go out, invest your time and your energy into that, and develop it. Master it. Keep working to make yourself better at it. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. If you're stressed about your finances, Learn about finances, learn about investing, learn about building wealth. If you're stressed in your relationships, learn about relationships. Go to counseling if you need to. Cut stressful relationships if you need to. Improve your method of communication. Practice journaling, writing down your thoughts, writing down your dreams, writing down what you're feeling. Practice hygiene. Clean your house, clean your body. Get rid of all the stuff that you've been gathering over the years, cluttering up your house, cluttering up your mind. Clean it out. Let it go already. You'll feel the difference on your background level of stress. So yeah, that was a lot of information. I hope it wasn't overwhelming. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions about it, please send me an email. If you need help integrating or figuring out how to prioritize where to make these changes in your life, send me an email or contact another experienced health coach. Use your intuition on this one. If you're really sick, contact a medical professional, please. But to integrate this information, all you need to do is start making these changes now. This whole virus thing is just a wake-up call. It's just a pressure that Mother Earth is putting on all of us. She's saying, what are you waiting for? Take the steps you need to now. You know what you need to do. Listen to your heart. Determine where in your life you're out of balance. Prioritize your changes. Set appropriate goals and take the steps that you need to do. Get help if you need to. And make sure there's no part of your life that you're ignoring. You're having a holistic view of everything. Again, if you need any help, I'm here for you. Send me an email, ShivMundkur@gmail.com, or contact anyone else that's an experienced health coach. Please, start making these changes in your life now. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. And there are so many other light workers out there who are also there for you and have their own unique perspective and their own unique way of helping. So listen to your heart. Find someone that you resonate with. And act now. Namaste. Please share this information with people. Thank you.